It's day 4 of VKF, and I had a lot of disappointment coming up yesterday with Tony, and I was just trying to be with it because like I said, it's been sort of tumultuous between us, and I didn't want to be negative and critical, and I wanted just to stay positive and allow things to just be and heal. And yet, so I woke up this morning and I woke up with vertigo, not really severe, thankfully, but it was really odd because I just talked about vertigo the other day and how, I really don't like that feeling of being dizzy. And I've actually did not do the core practice yesterday or today, and yet I felt this dizziness. So it, added to me feeling like out of sorts and vulnerable. And I just, again, felt like I was having trouble connecting with Tony. And it's like, I don't know how to do this, where like, if I don't express my feelings or my thoughts because they're negative, then how do I actually like stay feeling connected? And anyway, I tried to like ask him how he was feeling, and we didn't get a chance to talk that much about the time we spent apart. So, but I could just feel I was getting like frustrated, and I so just like took myself away because I could tell it wasn't going anywhere. And I just let myself feel this like anger and frustration and this deep disappointment. And it took me back to when I was 38, which is 7 years ago. And what came up was this, it was when I was living in Korea and Bali for a little bit. And there was a guy that I had slept with a few times who, we weren't like in love. It was like a casual thing, and I don't do that very often. And at that time in my life, I hadn't done that in a while. And I saw like insecurities in me come up, right? Like being with someone who's actually not into you. And even though I didn't want to be with him, it like just doesn't feel good, right? To like didn't feel good to me to share my body with someone. And then just like notice, it was the first time I noticed that thing that people talk about where like, especially women, if you sleep with someone, then you'll start like obsessing about them, or like the hormonal thing of like, you just want to be with them because you have this like attachment now. And it's like, I felt something like that, like mentally, like I don't even like want to be with this person very much. And yet I could feel this pull to like I cared what he thought, and I kept wanting to like him to call me. And it lasted for a while, and it was really humbling, and I was mad at myself about it. Anyway, that was coming up. And so suddenly I was like, oh, of course, I'm in this vaginal kung fu journey, and it makes sense that old feelings are coming up around, perhaps past partners that I've had. And then it actually, I was shown how that energy of like feeling disappointed in myself, for like choosing someone who didn't actually love me, which is also goes back to the first time I ever had sex, that imprint. I was connected to an ancestor of mine, a great grandmother, who also carried this disappointment in herself because she had feelings for a man, like outside of her marriage. She had feelings for a man who didn't have the same feelings for her. And it's like she couldn't accept that. And so instead of just feeling, I guess, like sad and compassionate of herself, she felt angry and disappointed in herself, like that it's weak, right? To put your heart out, to be vulnerable, to love someone when there's like no guarantee, no security, like and yeah, so then I was all excited, like, okay, I know what this is really about, and now I can like talk to Tony about it. But when I started to try to talk, I again felt this like, it's very hard not to project onto him. So yeah, I'm still like wondering if I need to like maybe be alone during this process. Oh, another thing that came to me was like how I've been judging myself or feeling judged by Tony in this thing of like, you know, because I of course want to be kind to Tony and not like use him as a punching bag or anything like that. And I'm trying to honor my feelings, like if I have anger or frustration, and not make myself wrong for feeling them. So it's like, and I think I definitely get into places where I'm like talking to myself, like, what is wrong with you? Like when, and especially if I see it hurt someone, right? Like repeatedly, I'm like, when are you going to be done with this pattern? Like, what is this coming from? Why is there so much anger? And, you know, and then like I work through it and I think, okay, like it's just because, you know, this container of love is like bringing things up, right? Like it's natural. It's only going to get better, right? And then it happens again and it's like, so yeah, I think the deeper part of me believes that this is all healing. And then there's another part of me that's like, why can't you just be calm and loving and not, and just like, why isn't it easier to just like be in a relationship, be fucking happy, you know? So anyway, when I realized like, oh yeah, besides the fact that I'm like always just working on myself and going deeper because that's my nature, and I think also because of the work I do with others to like go into the shadows, right? I feel like I need to always be more and more aware of the dark. And and yeah, if I'm embarking on this journey into my core self through my vagina, it's like, of course that's going to bring up intense emotions. And I was already kind of like, I guess, forgetting about that, or like somehow seeing it as separate. It's like, there's nothing wrong with me. I am consciously going on a healing journey. And so, of course, within that container, things are going to come up. And so then it's just up to me to, so anyway, I guess like I framed that it that way to Tony, just so he's aware, like, yeah, I might be even more sensitive than usual or more emotional than usual during this time. And I think it's really just about giving myself permission to, like, to honor that and not judge any of it. And perhaps that will help me also be more graceful to my partner. And it might just be like, yeah, I can't be around you right now or during this time because it's too much, you know? So we'll see. But I wanted to share this crane. I picked a card today about this journey, and the other day on a walk, I found this crane toy. Its wings look like lightning bolts, but it was definitely a crane, and it was at the base of this tree. And then the other day I pulled a card that was about the crane priestess, and it was about being very present, like learning from the past and having hope for the future, but like, you know, being present. Anyway, this card, so I just feel like the crane is with me, and this card is all about patience. You know, the crane can be very still and like just peer into the water for hours and then only strike when it's the perfect timing. There's also like a full moon, and it talks about how the crane is like knows the language of the underworld and can take people to these depths. And again, along with that theme of like honoring my rhythm, which is often a lot slower than my mind wants it to be. So Tony 3D printed this for me for Valentine's Day, and it reminded me, so at the end of Amanda Ellis's video about the twin flame, where she talks about the masculine having this like anger that needs to be released and the feminine feeling like protective, she says that when it comes into balance, when balance is restored, it's the sun card, like the two children playing, holding hands under a rainbow, and like this energy of hope. And she talked about beauty, and our home is called the Sanctuary of Beauty. This reminds me of that. And she also talked about like the bandages coming off of like a mummy, or like the cocoon being released. And you know, when that happens, it's like you're raw and naked, and it's the return to Eden, the return to the garden, the return to innocence, awakening to our original eternal innocence. Like everything is acceptable, everything is okay. This is actually the message of the third story of my trilogy, which is what I feel I'm stepping into now after the rebirth of the golden butterfly queen, the butterfly. And I picked this crane card when I asked about this journey. And so I found a crane at the foot of a tree, a toy crane, like the wings were like lightning. And this crane is about patience. You know, they can look into a still pool of water for like hours and then only strike at the perfect time. Perseverance and patience, and also that they're the guardians of the underworld. And so I felt like it was this reminder to honor, to be patient with myself, to understand that these emotions that come up truly are part of a healing process that I've consciously committed to, and that nothing's wrong. And that for me to do my work to help people, to support people in facing all their shadows and to see what's been hidden, like that is what makes me capable of doing that. It's me going through and feeling these emotions in my body and transmuting them. So to stop judging myself.